My daughter left my 6-year-old autistic grandson on the brick porch on Oglethorpe Avenue and never came back. That was 12 years ago. I raised Noah myself. People said he would never make it. Too different. Too hard. They were wrong. At 17, he built a piece of software worth $4.5 million. The Savannah News ran his story. 2 weeks later, my doorbell rang. Danielle, my daughter, stood there with a lawyer and a stack of papers claiming she'd been involved all along. Custody filings, financial records, visitation logs. All lies, but they looked real. Our attorney reviewed them and said without proof they were forged, we might lose. I panicked. Noah didn't. He leaned toward me and whispered, "Let her talk." I stared at him. We were about to lose everything, and he wanted his mother to keep lying. He just sat there, calm, watching. I had no idea what he was about to do. My name is Marjorie. I'm 69. This is my story. Danielle showed up on the Friday after Thanksgiving in 2011 with Noah and one backpack. "Just for the weekend, Mom," she said at my front door. "I need a break, please." Noah stood beside her, 6 years old, staring at the stone step. He rocked heel to toe. His hands covered his ears, though there was only river wind and the last cicadas of the season. "Danielle, what? I'll call you Sunday." She was already turning away, walking fast to the car. She didn't hug him, didn't kiss him goodbye. She just left. I watched her taillights disappear through the magnolias. Noah kept rocking. I'd been a high school librarian for 38 years. I'd supported a few autistic students in the stacks. But standing there with my grandson, I realized I knew almost nothing about actually living with it. "Hi, Noah," I said softly. "Do you want to come inside?" He didn't look at me, didn't move, just rocked. I picked up his backpack. It was light, too light for a weekend. I opened the door wider and waited. After a minute, Noah slipped past me into the house, still covering his ears. The refrigerator hummed in the kitchen. He flinched. The kettle began to trill on the gas stove. He pressed his hands tighter to his head. I closed the door as quietly as I could. He was already in the living room, curled into the corner by the mahogany bookshelf. "Are you hungry?" "No." "Thirsty?" He rocked faster. I went to the kitchen and poured warm water into the blue ceramic cup I kept for his visits. Those visits were rare, maybe twice a year, and always short. I brought the cup and set it on the floor an arm's length away. He stopped rocking, looked at the blue cup, then went back to rocking. The first night was worse. I made chicken nuggets and fries because Danielle once said, that's what he ate. Noah glanced at the plate and turned away. I tried pasta. No, I tried a sandwich. He pushed it across the table. "What do you want to eat?" I asked. He hummed low in his throat and stared at the wall. I gave him crackers. He ate 3. Bedtime was a disaster. I tried to help him brush his teeth and he screamed, not crying, screaming like I was hurting him. I stepped back and he stopped, but he was shaking. "Okay," I said. "Okay, you can skip it tonight." I put him in the guest room and tucked the blanket the way I thought kids liked. He threw it off. I tried again. He screamed. I left the blanket at the foot of the bed and backed out. He didn't sleep. I heard him humming all night, the same low sound, over and over. I didn't sleep either. Saturday morning I called Danielle. No answer. I left a message. "Danielle, honey, call me back. I need to know what Noah eats, what his routines are." She didn't call. I called again Saturday night, Sunday morning, Sunday night. Nothing. 1 week became 2. I took Noah to the pediatrician. The doctor confirmed what I already suspected. "He's autistic, Mrs. Blake. Has anyone talked to you about getting him evaluated?" "His mother was supposed to handle that." The doctor nodded slowly. "Well, you're handling it now." I enrolled him in therapy, speech, occupational, behavioral, at the Morgan Autism Institute. I learned he needed the same breakfast every single day. Scrambled eggs, toast cut corner to corner, nothing touching on the plate. I learned the route to therapy had to be exactly the same, or he'd scream in the car. I learned not to touch him unless he initiated it. I got used to watching instead of stepping in. 2 weeks after Noah arrived, I found him in the living room at dawn. He was on the floor with a bin of river shells I'd bought on the riverfront, lining them up in a perfect row. It wasn't random. He'd sorted them by color, but in a way I didn't understand at first. I sat on the sofa and watched. Deep blue, then one a shade lighter, then lighter again, then sea green, then silver green, on and on. The gradient was so subtle I had to squint to see the differences. He'd arranged them by shade, perfectly. "That's amazing, Noah," I said. He didn't look at me, but he kept arranging. December came. Danielle still didn't call. I tried a different approach. I stopped trying to get him to look at me, stopped pushing him to talk. I just kept everything exactly the same. Same breakfast, same time, same TV show, same bedtime routine he finally tolerated, me saying goodnight from the doorway. He calmed. Not happy, maybe, but less frantic. He sat in the living room while I read, the blue cup near the chair. He ate without pushing the plate away. On Christmas Eve, I baked sugar cookies. Noah didn't help, but he sat at the table and watched me cut shapes. The kitchen smelled like vanilla and butter. The phone rang. I grabbed it, hopeful. Danielle. "Mom." Her voice was flat, tired. "Danielle, thank God. When are you coming to get him? He needs you. I need to know." "I can't do this anymore, Mom." I stopped moving. "What?" "He's yours. I really tried, but I can't." Her voice caught. "I just can't. Danielle, wait." The line went dead. I called back. It rang and rang. No answer. I tried again. Voicemail. I stood in the kitchen with the phone in my hand, cookies burning in the oven, smoke beginning to curl. I turned off the oven and pulled the tray. The cookies were black. I slid down to the floor, my back against the cabinet. Noah appeared in the doorway. He looked at me for a long time, longer than ever before. Then he walked to the counter, picked up the blue ceramic cup I'd given him that first day, and brought it to me. He set it on the floor beside me. I looked at the cup, looked at him. He went back to the living room. I cried there on the kitchen floor with a burnt cookie sheet and a blue ceramic cup. The years after blurred. I kept everything exactly the same for Noah. Same breakfast every morning. Same route everywhere we went. Same bedtime. Same routine. When I kept it consistent, he was okay. Not happy, maybe, but okay. At 6, he became obsessed with the magnetic alphabet I bought. He arranged the letters on the refrigerator for hours. Not words. Patterns, groupings, sequences I couldn't read. Then he started drawing symbols in little notebooks. Circles, lines, tick marks. Tracking something only he understood. At therapy, I asked about it. "He makes these marks everywhere. Should I be worried?" His therapist, Dr. Aisha Morgan, shook her head. "He's tracking his world. It helps him feel safe. Let him do it." So I did. He filled notebook after notebook with symbols and marks. By 7, the symbols became letters. Then, short words. Eggs, toast, school, home. Simple things, printed in neat block letters. At 8, he wrote full sentences. Times, what he ate, where we went, what happened. He learned eye contact, sometimes, in small flickers. He learned to tolerate the grocery store if we went at the same time every week. He learned I wasn't going to leave. I wasn't going to change things without warning. One spring morning when he was 8, I was making breakfast. Eggs, toast, same as always. Noah sat at the table with his notebook writing. "Why did Mom leave?" I nearly dropped the spatula. I turned. Noah was looking at the notebook, not at me, but he had spoken. 3 years of mostly silence. Then single words. Now a full sentence. A question. I sat across from him. She said she couldn't handle it. He nodded once, wrote something, then went back to staring at the page. I finished breakfast and set his plate in front of him. Then I went to the bathroom and cried where he couldn't hear me. He had spoken. He had asked the question I didn't know how to answer, but I told him the truth. That was all I could give him. The truth. And eggs and toast every morning. and the same blue cup. That was what I had to offer. It would have to be enough. A year after Noah first spoke to me, the school called with a problem. It was September 2014. Noah was 9, starting 4th grade at Savannah Preparatory School. I thought we were past the hardest parts. He was speaking in full sentences, eating in the cafeteria without meltdowns. Then Principal Hughes wanted to move him. "Mrs. Blake, we need to discuss Noah's placement," he said over the phone. "Noah would be better served in our special needs classroom." "What's the problem?" I asked. "Not academics," he said. "Behavior. He doesn't join group activities. He has sensory issues." "Mrs. Blake, we have a program designed for children like Noah. It will be less stressful for everyone. Less stressful for the teacher." "I want an IEP meeting," I said. "An individualized education program." I spent 3 days preparing. I printed every report card, every therapy progress note. Noah's reading was above grade level. His math was 2 years ahead. The problem wasn't that he couldn't learn. The problem was that he learned differently. The meeting was on a Friday afternoon. Principal Hughes and the teachers, the coordinator, folders everywhere. "Noah is a sweet boy, but he struggles socially. He refuses to participate," Ms. Keller said. "Does he do the work?" I asked. She hesitated. "Yes, but education isn't just worksheets." Principal Hughes used that reasonable, patronizing tone. "We understand you want Noah in a mainstream classroom, but we have to consider the needs of all students." "You're telling me Noah is disruptive?" I said. "Not exactly disruptive." "Then what is it?" "His IQ testing was inconclusive," Ms. Monroe said, "because it was timed, and that made him anxious." "Noah needs support we can't provide in a general classroom," Principal Hughes said. I opened my folder and pulled out the evidence. "This is Noah's reading comprehension from last month, 97%, 7th grade level. Math assessment, 100% on 5th grade material. He's come farther in 4 years than anyone predicted, not because he's in a special room with low expectations, but because people believed he could do more." The room went quiet. "You want him somewhere else because he makes you uncomfortable, because he doesn't perform normal the way you want normal to look." "Under IDEA," I said, Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, Noah has the right to the least restrictive environment. That means the mainstream classroom with appropriate supports, not removal because he's different. I was tired of being polite. So provide supports in his current classroom, noise-canceling headphones, extra time for transitions, a quiet space if he's overwhelmed. That's accommodation, not exclusion. They looked at each other. Principal Hughes sighed. "We'll draft an IEP with those accommodations," he said at last. "But if Noah continues to struggle, he won't." That night, I spread every meeting note across the kitchen table and started filing them into the mahogany case. Noah walked in. "What are you doing?" he asked. His voice was stronger now. "Making sure the school can't forget what you can do. Can I help?" "Of course." He studied my system, then pointed at the therapy tabs. "These should be sorted by date, then by type. Speech separate from occupational, separate from behavioral." He was right. "Show me," I said. He rearranged the entire section in 10 minutes, a system clean, logical, perfect. I watched him work, his hands moving fast, fully focused. Organization lived in him at a level I would never reach. Pattern, structure, order. For him, as natural as breathing. "Good job, Noah," I said. The next year, when Noah turned 10, Dr. Aisha Morgan suggested a tablet for communication support. I saved and bought him one. He mastered it in a day. Within a week, he'd downloaded a scanning app and started photographing every page of his notebooks, creating digital copies. "Why are you doing that?" I asked. "So I don't lose them," he said, eyes on the screen. At group therapy, other mothers would ask, "How do you get Noah to cooperate? How are you so patient?" "I think I stopped trying to make him be someone else," I said. "I just try to understand who he is." It wasn't profound. It was simply the only thing that worked. Noah started seeing patterns everywhere. Driving, he'd say, The light on Whitaker Street is mistimed. It stays red 45 seconds longer than the others. I had no idea if that was true. At the Habersham Market, he'd scan the receipt and point out a pricing error. He was right every time. Once at a parent-teacher conference, Principal Hughes smiled at me, but his eyes stayed flat, cold. In the car, Noah said, "He doesn't like me." "What do you mean?" "When people really smile, the muscles around their eyes contract. His didn't. He was pretending." I drove in silence. Noah was 10, and he could read faces better than I could. By 11, Miss Monroe called me. "Noah disrupted class today. He stood up and corrected me in front of everyone." "Was he right?" I asked. "Yes, but he embarrassed me. He needs to understand there's a time and place. He's 11. He sees a mistake. He fixes it. That's how his brain works." This time they wanted to label him oppositional defiant. I brought 6 months of therapy notes showing Noah was direct, factual. He didn't read social hierarchies that said adults were always right, even when they weren't. "He isn't being disrespectful," I told the school psychologist. "He's being honest. There's a difference." They agreed to drop it. That night, Noah asked, "Why do they want me to be different?" "Because they're afraid of people who see more than they do," I said. He thought about it, nodded, and kept eating. A few weeks later, he asked if I had his birth certificate. "What do you need that for?" "I want to see it." He asked for his enrollment papers, his social security card, anything with his name on it. "Are you okay? Is this about your mom?" "I want to see everything. Make sure it's all there." I helped him scan it all into the tablet. Birth records, medical history, every legal document I had. He saved them carefully, backed them up, created folders with labels I didn't fully understand. "What are you building?" I asked. "A system," he said, "so nothing gets lost." I kissed the top of his head. "Okay, sweetheart, if it helps you." I thought he was processing the past. I didn't know he was preparing for his future. That future took shape the summer he turned 12. He discovered something new. Coding. I found him at the kitchen table with my old laptop, staring at a screen full of letters and symbols. "What are you doing?" I asked. "Learning Python." "What's Python?" "A programming language. I'm following a tutorial." I left him alone. He spent the whole summer on that laptop. I brought him lunch. He ate without looking up. His blue ceramic cup sat beside the computer. By August, he showed me little programs he'd made. "This one sorts files by date," he said. "This one finds duplicates. This one checks if a file's been modified." "That's incredible, Noah." In September, I used the last of my savings to buy him a better computer. He'd earned it. One October evening, he called me to his room. "I want to show you something." He opened a program. "This is a document signature, like a fingerprint." He opened the file again, changed one word, ran the program. Different numbers appeared. "See? The signature changed. That means the document was altered, so things stay true." I thought about all those school meetings, all the times I'd wished I had proof. "That's brilliant, Noah." He turned back to the screen, back to the HUD. "It's just pattern recognition, digital instead of physical." The next year, at 13, the project expanded. "I want to digitize all your mahogany boxes," he said. "I want everything in the system I'm building, so nothing gets lost or changed." I spent weeks pulling files while Noah scanned page after page. IEP notes, incident reports, all of it. He added layers I couldn't see. "Each document connects to the one before and after it," he said, "like a chain. If someone tries to change one link, the whole chain breaks." "So this protects the truth," I said. "Yes." I watched him work. This child who hadn't spoken 7 years ago was building something I could barely comprehend, something powerful. "I'm proud of you," I said. Our relationship had changed. We didn't need many words, just comfortable quiet with someone who knew you didn't have to fill every silence with noise. He turned 14 in November 2019. One afternoon, he asked if I'd kept anything from when he first came to live with me. Receipts, calendars, bank statements, anything from 2011? "What do you need those for?" I asked. I need to know what really happened, not what people say happened, what actually happened. This is about your mom, isn't it? I need the timeline. When things happened, what was real? I helped him scan everything. Grocery receipts, bank statements proving I never received money from Danielle, phone bills showing she never called. Why grocery receipts? I asked once. They have dates. They show where we were and what we bought. They're evidence. Evidence of what? Of what happened. Of what was real. That year, he started staying up later. I went to bed at 10 and heard the keyboard clicking through the wall. Around midnight, I'd get up, make him a sandwich or slice an apple, and leave it on his desk. Some nights I saw light under his door at 2 or 3 a.m. "What are you working on?" I asked. He stopped, turned toward me. Something that helps people know what's real and what's fake, what actually happened versus what someone claims happened. Because people lie, and sometimes you need proof. I was proud of him. I just didn't understand what it was really for. I thought he was healing the past. I didn't know he was building armor for the future. He asked me to test his programs. "Does it work?" I'd ask. "Yes." "Then what are you still doing?" "Making it better, always more accurate, always one more test, one more way to prove what's real and what isn't." What he built turned out to be something people would pay millions for. Noah was 16 when the core was done, spring 2022. "I want to show you something," he said one afternoon in May. He opened a program with a clean, simple interface. "This is it, Phoenix Verification Engine." "What does it do?" "It analyzes documents, checks if they've been altered, when they were created, whether signatures match other known samples. It catches forgeries." I watched it run on a sample file. "So if someone fakes a document, this will catch it?" "Yes. Metadata, digital fingerprints, patterns. It sees what people don't." "That's incredible, Noah." He nodded. "Who will you sell it to?" "Security companies, fraud prevention firms, anyone who needs to verify that documents are real." He said it simply, like it was obvious. "Do you know how to do that?" I asked. "I've researched it." Of course he had. He started reaching out to companies that month, sent professional emails. I helped polish them, though his direct style was clearer than most business writing I'd seen. The first deal came in June. A small security firm in Jacksonville bought a pilot license for $28,000. I stared at the number on the screen when Noah showed me. $28,000. "It's less than it's worth," he said, "but it's proof. Now I have a client." He was right. Word spread that the system worked, and other companies wanted demos. Noah took conference calls in his room, same calm voice, technical without dumbing it down. I listened from the hallway. Sometimes he'd say, "The algorithm compares hash values across multiple verification layers, and somehow the people on the other end understood, or pretended to." He turned 17 in November 2022. By early 2023, he had 6 more clients and enough money in his account to pay for college twice over. Then the big offers came. Tech companies wanted exclusivity. Fraud prevention firms wanted enterprise licenses. The numbers jumped from tens of thousands to hundreds of thousands to millions. "I need help," Noah said in February. "I don't know how to evaluate these contracts." I asked Whitfield & Granger, LLP, to refer us to an intellectual property attorney. Thomas Granger met us on a Saturday morning at the kitchen table and laid out 3 different offers. "They're all substantial," he said, looking at Noah. "You built something valuable." Noah nodded. "Which one is best?" Mr. Granger walked him through the options: licenses that would pay over time, or an acquisition to sell the software outright. Noah listened, asked about terms and rights. "I want to sell it outright," he said finally. "I don't want to manage licenses or support or updates. Sell it and be done." Mr. Granger raised an eyebrow. "Are you sure? Licensing could pay more long-term." "There's a 5-year non-compete in the acquisition," Noah said. "If I sell, I can't build competing verification software during that period." "That's standard," he said. Does that bother you? No, I'm done with this kind of software. I glanced at him. He said it decisively, like he'd already planned the next thing. He sold it in March 2023 for $4.5 million to Apex Secure Systems. $4.5 million. I couldn't process the number. I'd been a librarian for 38 years and hadn't earned half that, before taxes, across a lifetime. The local news found out. They wanted to cover the autistic teen in Savannah who'd built revolutionary security software. I didn't want cameras in my house. I didn't want them turning Noah into inspiration. But he said yes. The reporter, a young woman named Kate, came on a Thursday afternoon. She sat up in the living room and asked to film Noah at his computer. "Can you explain what your software does?" she asked. "It verifies document authenticity through pattern recognition and metadata analysis," Noah said, looking at the camera the way he looked at anyone. Direct. "It catches forgeries people miss." "What made you want to create this?" I tensed, but Noah answered simply, "I wanted to know what's real. People lie. Documents don't, if you know how to read them correctly." Kate smiled. "That's very insightful. Do you have plans for the money yet?" "Not yet." She tried a few more questions, but Noah's answers stayed short and factual, not the emotional arc she wanted. After 20 minutes, she thanked us and left. The segment aired Friday night. Savannah teen builds revolutionary security software. They used maybe 2 minutes of the interview, added dramatic music, showed Noah at his computer, focused, brilliant. I watched it with him. "How do you feel?" I asked when it ended. "Fine." But I noticed something in the days after. He didn't celebrate. He wasn't excited about the money or the attention. He was just waiting, watching. I'd catch him staring out the window sometimes, or sitting at the kitchen table with his blue ceramic cup, not drinking, just holding it. "You okay?" I asked. "Yes." He wasn't. Something had shifted. A tension I couldn't name. 2 weeks after the broadcast, the doorbell rang on a Tuesday afternoon. I wasn't expecting anyone. Noah was in his room. I opened the door, and there they were. A woman in a gray suit, expensive, hair perfect. A man beside her in a dark suit, carrying a leather briefcase. The woman smiled. It didn't reach her eyes. "Hi, Mom." My stomach clenched. My hands went cold. Danielle. She looked older, 12 years older. Lines around her mouth, jaw tight. But it was her. "Noah," she said, looking past me into the house. I couldn't move, couldn't speak. My body forgot how. "I'm Richard Hale," the man said. "Counsel for Danielle Blake. We'd like to talk with you about Noah's situation." "His situation?" I managed. Danielle's smile tightened. "May we come in? This is important." I should have said no. I should have closed the door. I froze instead. Noah appeared behind me in the hallway. He looked at Danielle. His face was blank. No surprise, no emotion, nothing. He watched her the way he watched traffic patterns or pricing errors, analytical, calculating. "Let them in," he said. My legs moved without my permission. I stepped back. They walked into my home, Danielle and her lawyer, and I felt sick. We sat at the kitchen table, the same table where Noah and I ate breakfast every morning, where we sorted school notes and scanned documents. Now Danielle sat there, hands folded, while her lawyer opened his briefcase. "Mrs. Blake, we're here to discuss custody and financial guardianship," he said. Professional, smooth, practiced. "My client, Danielle Blake, has maintained parental rights to Noah and wishes to resume active custody." "Custody?" I said. "Precisely," Hale said. "He's still a minor, and my client never formally terminated her parental rights. She's been co-parenting from a distance, maintaining contact through appropriate channels." "That's a lie," I said. My voice shook. "She hasn't called in 12 years. Danielle spoke then. Soft voice, sad eyes that looked fake. "Mom, I know you've done a wonderful job raising Noah, but he needs his mother now, especially with the money and the attention. He needs guidance." "He has guidance." Hale pulled out papers, documents with official-looking seals and signatures. These show Ms. Blake maintained legal parental rights. They document financial support and ongoing contact over the years. She's entitled to custody and, given Noah's minor status, management of his financial assets until he reaches majority. I looked at the papers. They looked real. My heart pounded. "They're fake," I said, but I had no proof. "They're properly notarized and filed," Hale said calmly, "unless you can prove otherwise." I looked at Noah. He was watching Danielle, face still blank, but there was something in his eyes I couldn't read. "Noah," I whispered, "what do we do?" He met my eyes for a second, then turned back to Danielle. "We should get a lawyer," he said. Finding a lawyer turned out to be easier than using one. I found Carmen Whitfield through a referral, a family law attorney with over 20 years of experience in fraud and guardianship. She met us 3 days after Danielle showed up. She came to my house on Oglethorpe Avenue because I couldn't face going to an office. I brought out every mahogany box, years of school records, therapy notes, medical files, every scrap of paper proving I'd raised Noah. My hands shook as I spread them across the kitchen table. Noah sat quietly in the chair beside me, watching, always watching. Carmen laid out Danielle's documents, the ones Richard Hale had produced. She studied them for over an hour, reading every page, checking signatures, examining seals. Finally, she looked up. Her face told me before she spoke. "These look legitimate," she said carefully. "Very professionally done." "But they're fake," I said. "She's lying. She hasn't seen him in 12 years. "I believe you, Eve. But do you have any technical proof that these documents were forged?" I pulled my files closer. "I have everything. Every school meeting, every doctor's visit, every therapy session." Carmen paged through, nodding slowly. "This is excellent documentation. It proves you're the primary caregiver. But Mrs. Blake, without forensic evidence that her papers are fraudulent, a judge may side with her." "Why?" "Because she never formally terminated her parental rights. There's no court order transferring custody. Schools and doctors accepted you informally, but—" She paused. "Have you ever filed for formal guardianship?" The room went cold. "I didn't think I needed to. She abandoned him." "I know, but legally, without documentation of that abandonment, without her signature relinquishing rights, she's still the parent on paper." Carmen's voice was gentle but firm. "Her attorney will argue that an informal arrangement doesn't override parental rights." I couldn't breathe. "So she can just take him?" "She isn't aiming for physical custody. Noah is still a minor, and courts rarely force teenagers to move. She's targeting financial guardianship, control of his assets until the constraints run out, the $4.5 million. That was what she cared about. "Can we fight this?" I asked. "Yes, but I need you to understand. Her case looks strong. She has paperwork, a compelling narrative about staying involved from a distance. Unless we can prove those documents are fraudulent, we'll lose." Carmen didn't disagree. I looked at Noah. He sat perfectly still, arms folded on the table, face blank. He wouldn't meet my eyes. "Noah," I said softly, "do you understand what's happening?" "Yes." "Are you scared?" He thought about it. "No." How could he not be? I was terrified. Carmen explained the next steps: depositions, discovery, a hearing at the Chatham County Courthouse, weeks, maybe months. The whole time, Danielle's claim would hang over us. After she left, I sat at the kitchen table and broke down. "We're going to lose you," I said through tears. "After everything, after 12 years, we're going to lose you." Noah stood, said nothing, and went to his room, closing the door. I wanted him to tell me it would be okay, to show some emotion, some fear, anything. He left me there instead. I cried alone at the table for an hour, my hand clenched around the blue ceramic cup. Depositions began 2 weeks later. Danielle went first. She sat in the conference room at her lawyer's office, perfectly composed, hair styled, makeup subtle, a soft gray sweater that made her look maternal. Hale asked the questions. She answered smoothly. Can you describe your involvement in Noah's life over the past 12 years? I've tried to maintain consistent contact, she said, steady, warm, contrite. I visited monthly when possible, sent financial support by money orders, called regularly to check his progress. Why didn't you maintain physical custody? I believed it was better for Noah to have stability with my mother while I addressed personal issues, but I never stopped being his mother. I never stopped caring. She offered months and dates when she claimed she'd visited. Exact dollar amounts she said she'd sent. December 2014, $300. April 2016, $500. On and on, a detailed financial record of support that never happened. I sat there listening, nails digging into my palms. Ms. Blake, why are you seeking custody arrangements now? Hale asked. Because Noah has significant assets that need proper management, and because he's approaching adulthood, I want to be present for this crucial transition, to guide him, to make up for lost time. She looked at me when she said it. Sad eyes, regretful smile. I wanted to scream, to call her a liar in front of everyone, but Carmen had warned me, stay calm, don't react, let her tell her story. When Danielle finished, Carmen pulled me aside. Her testimony is detailed, consistent. That's very persuasive to judges. It's all lies. I know, but can you prove it? I couldn't. Noah's deposition was 3 days later. Hale asked about his childhood, his memories of his mother, her involvement. Do you remember your mother visiting you? Hale asked. I don't recall specific visits. What about phone calls from her? I'd have to check my records. Hale looked pleased. He thought Noah's memory was poor, that it supported Danielle's narrative. Carmen questioned him too. Do you want to live with your grandmother? Yes. Do you want your mother to control your finances? No. Short answers, direct, true, but they felt thin against Danielle's detailed lies. After the deposition, Carmen drove us home. You did well, she said to Noah. But Mrs. Blake, I have to be honest. Without proof her documents are fake, this is going to be difficult. How difficult? We could lose. That night, I couldn't sleep. I lay staring at the ceiling, imagining Noah taken from me, Danielle controlling his money. At 3 a.m., I got up and saw light under Noah's door. I opened it quietly. He was at his computer. Noah, it's 3 in the morning. You need to sleep. He didn't turn. I'm almost done. Done with what? He kept typing. My records. I moved closer. Spreadsheets with dates, files with names I recognized, my bank statements, calendar entries, phone logs. Noah, I don't know what to do, I said, my voice breaking. I don't know how to fight this. He stopped typing, didn't turn around. Just tell the truth tomorrow, he said quietly. That's all you have to do. The truth isn't enough. She has documents, she has proof. Fake proof, but proof. Tell the truth, he repeated. I went back to bed and didn't sleep. I lay there in the dark, afraid. Noah stayed at the computer all night. The keyboard clicked until dawn. I had no idea what he was doing. I only knew I was going to lose him, and there was nothing I could do to stop it. Morning came, whether I wanted it to or not. I got up at 6 and made breakfast. Neither of us could eat. Noah came out at 7, showered, in the button-down we'd bought for court. He looked older than his years, tired but calm. Ready? I asked. Yes. We drove to the Chatham County Courthouse in silence. Carmen met us on the steps. Remember, stay calm. Let me do the talking. Noah, answer directly, but don't volunteer information. He nodded. The courtroom was smaller than I expected. Wood paneling, fluorescent lights. Judge Eleanor Park took the bench, a woman in her 60s with sharp eyes. Danielle sat at counsel table with Hale. The hearing began. Hale rose and delivered his case smoothly. Danielle Blake, a devoted mother who maintained consistent involvement despite personal challenges. Documentary evidence that parental rights were never terminated, financial support provided, contact maintained. He laid the documents on the evidence table. All fake, all convincing. Judge Park examined them carefully. "Ms. Blake," the judge said, "can you describe your involvement in Noah's life over the past 12 years? Danielle's voice was steady, warm. "I tried to stay connected as much as possible, Your Honor. I visited when I could. I sent money to help with his care. I called regularly to check on his progress. Why didn't you maintain physical custody? I felt it was better for Noah to have stability with my mother while I addressed personal issues, but I never abandoned him. I never stopped being his mother." She said it with such conviction, such sincerity, I wanted to scream. The judge asked more questions. Danielle answered them all. December 2014, she claimed she visited for Noah's birthday. April 2016, she said she sent $500 for therapy. Lies, all lies. But detailed, consistent. "Thank you, Ms. Blake," Judge Park said. Then it was Carmen Whitfield's turn. She presented my files, every piece of evidence showing I'd raised Noah alone. But as she spoke, I saw Judge Eleanor Park's expression, sympathetic but skeptical. "Ms. Whitfield," Judge Park said, "these records show Mrs. Blake is the primary caregiver, but I see no formal guardianship, no court order transferring custody, no termination of parental rights." My chest tightened. "Your Honor," Carmen said carefully, "Danielle Blake abandoned Noah when he was 6. My client has documentation of that abandonment. But without Ms. Blake's signature relinquishing rights, there's no legal termination. Absent formal documents, her parental rights remain intact." Judge Park looked at me, not unkind. "Mrs. Blake, I understand you've done an excellent job raising him, but legally, without proof that his mother surrendered her rights, her claim has standing." The room tilted. Danielle glanced at Hale and smiled. Small. She thought she'd won. My heart pounded so hard I couldn't breathe. I looked at Noah beside me, desperate for something, anything. His face was blank, unreadable. I leaned close and whispered, "She's lying. We have to stop her." He tilted his head and whispered back, "Let her talk." "What?" "Let her say everything she wants." I didn't understand. We were losing, and he wanted Danielle to keep going. Judge Park looked at Noah. "Young man, do you wish to speak?" A long pause. Noah sat still as stone. Then he stood. "Yes, Your Honor. I have evidence." My heart stopped. What evidence? I'd given Carmen everything I had. "Approach," Judge Park said. Noah lifted a bag I hadn't noticed. He walked to the witness stand, calm, steady, as if he'd done it 100 times. He took out a laptop. "May I connect this to the display, Your Honor?" Judge Park looked surprised. "What are you presenting?" "Verification of document authenticity and timeline evidence," Noah said clearly. "I built a system that proves whether documents are real or forged. Phoenix Verification Engine." Hale shot up. "Your Honor, this is highly irregular. We were not informed of this evidence. Your counsel filed fraudulent documents 6 weeks ago," Noah said, looking at Hale. "I'm presenting analysis of those documents." Judge Park considered. "Proceed, but keep it relevant." Noah connected the laptop. The courtroom screen lit up. He opened Danielle's custody packet, the very set Hale had filed. Pages appeared, seals and signatures that looked official. "These documents purport to be from 2011 to 2022, Noah said. "But the metadata shows they were created about 6 weeks ago, right after the broadcast about my software sale." He clicked through panels. Creation dates, file properties, edit histories, all time-stamped, all recent. Hale objected. "Metadata can be manipulated." "Not here," Noah said evenly. "Signature analysis shows additional discrepancies." He pulled up his birth certificate, Danielle's signature from 2011, then ran comparisons against the custody forms. Numbers appeared. Pressure profiles, slant metrics, spacing, vector paths. The pressure patterns don't match. Letter formation is inconsistent. Spacing and slant differ. These signatures were forged. Judge Park leaned forward. "How do you know?" "Phoenix Verification Engine analyzes document authenticity. It's the software I sold last month to Apex Secure Systems. You're 18, Judge Park said. Yes. She blinked. Continue. Noah opened a timeline. These are my records. I've documented my life since I was 9, every calendar entry of my grandmother's, every receipt, therapy note, school meeting, scanned, time-stamped, cross-referenced. Ms. Blake claims she visited in December 2014. The screen showed my calendar for that month, photos with embedded timestamps, therapy notes from December 9th, Dr. Aisha Morgan confirming no mother present. Here's the school attendance log. Nothing aligns with a visit. Noah also verified the money orders Ms. Blake says she sent. 7 years of my bank statements filled the screen. No deposits from Danielle Blake, not $1. She says she called regularly. Noah pulled carrier logs from Thanksgiving 2011 onward. No calls from her number after Thanksgiving 2011. Every claim Danielle made, Noah took apart with proof. Hale stood again. Your Honor, this evidence wasn't disclosed in discovery. Because you filed fraudulent records 6 weeks ago, Noah said. I used the system to analyze them. That's impossible. You couldn't build the entire system in 6 weeks. I didn't build it in 6 weeks, Noah said. I built it over 7 years. 6 weeks ago, I ran this specific analysis. Judge Park stared. You've been recording your life for 7 years? Yes, Your Honor. Every calendar entry, every receipt, every therapy session, every meeting, every transaction. Time-stamped, cross-checked, and verified. The system's chain makes retroactive edits impossible. He pulled up more screens, showing the judge how it worked. Each document linked to another. Verification codes locking the timeline, proving nothing had been altered. So, when Ms. Blake says she visited monthly, sent money, called regularly, I can prove she didn't because I have evidence of what actually happened, of what's real. The courtroom went silent. Judge Park looked at Danielle. Ms. Blake, can you explain these discrepancies? Danielle went pale. She looked at Hale. Metadata can be wrong, she said, voice shaking. The dates might... I did visit. I did send money. When exactly? The judge asked. December 2014, I remember. Do you have proof? Receipts, photos, anything? Danielle stammered. I don't keep records. I was there. I know I was there. And I have money orders. Yes, those show... She was coming apart, contradicting herself. The confident mother from 20 minutes ago was gone. Ms. Blake, Judge Park said coldly, did you falsify custody documents? No, my lawyer said... Hale looked like he might faint. Judge Park turned to Noah. This verification system, it's legitimate? Yes, Your Honor. I sold it last month to Apex Secure Systems for $4.5 million. They validated its accuracy before purchase. Her eyebrows lifted. She reviewed the evidence again, the timeline, the chain, 12 years of Danielle's absence since Thanksgiving 2011. I've heard enough, she said. She ruled from the bench. No recess, no deliberation. Danielle Blake, I find your testimony not credible and your documentation fraudulent. Full custody and guardianship are awarded to Marjorie Blake. Furthermore, I'm referring this matter to the district attorney for investigation of perjury and fraud. Danielle made a choking sound. This hearing is adjourned. The gavel fell. It was over. Outside the courthouse, standing in Savannah's honeyed light under the magnolias, I finally understood. You knew, I said. You've been protecting us all along. Noah nodded once. No smile, just a nod. 6 months later, everything looked different. Noah couldn't work in data security anymore, the 5-year non-compete in the sale. So he started a new company, Blake Insight Technologies, software testing and QA, prioritizing autistic hires. I'm hiring people like me, he said one morning at the table. We see patterns others miss. His first hire was Stephen. I knew the name at once. My student from 20 years ago, the boy I fought to keep in class. They said he'd never hold a job. Now he was Noah's QA lead. Then Marcus, then Lily. Kids the world had written off with low expectations. I stopped by the Riverfront District office one afternoon. Small room, 6 desks, headphones on, quiet, focused. Stephen saw me and slipped off his headset. "Mrs. Blake, you told the principal I wasn't broken. Just different." His voice caught. "Noah says the same." I couldn't speak. I just nodded. Danielle received 3 years probation and 600 hours of community service at the Coastal Autism Resource Center. 3 months into it, I dropped off donations. She sat cross-legged on the floor, reading to a nonverbal child. She looked up and saw me. We both froze. She looked exhausted, humbled. Not the woman who'd brought a lawyer to my door. The center's director, who didn't know who I was, said that volunteer comes extra hours. She's learning what she should have learned years ago. I didn't speak to Danielle. I watched a moment, then left. Some things don't need words. On a Tuesday evening after that, I brought dinner to Noah's apartment, like always. His blue ceramic cup sat on the counter, chipped at the rim. We ate at his small table, quiet, easy. I stood to clear the dishes. Noah set his phone down. "Marjorie." I turned. He was looking at his hands. "I know what you gave up for me." I sat back down and waited. "Your friends stopped calling. You stopped going places. I heard you turn down a trip on the phone because you couldn't leave me." "Noah, you could have been sent away like she did. The school suggested it. I didn't." My throat tightened. "You're my grandson." "I know, but you chose it. Every day, even when I couldn't say thank you." Silence. Just the refrigerator's hum and a chamomile kettle still warm on the stove. "It mattered," he said softly. I reached across the table and set my hand near his, not touching, just close. "You were worth every single day," I said. He nodded. "I know that now." We sat a moment longer. I washed the dishes. He opened his laptop. Same routine, same comfortable quiet. But something important had been said. I kissed the top of his head on my way out. He didn't flinch. "See you Tuesday," I said. "Tuesday," he confirmed. I drove home through streets I'd taken 1,000 times. Same route, same turns, the way Noah liked it, the way I'd learned to like it too. At a red light, my phone buzzed. A text. "Thank you." 2 words. I smiled all the way home. At the house, I set the blue cup on the table. A small handwritten slip slid from the bottom. "Thank you." I smoothed the crease, listening to Savannah's wind move through the magnolias on the porch. That's my story. If you were me, could you forgive your daughter? Tell me in the comments and subscribe for more stories like this.